All right, welcome back to another episode of Off the Cuff Podcast. We have an excellent, very special guest today, Officer Nigel Lee. Welcome to the show. We're going to have a great time talking about some fun stuff. We're going to hit the road here shortly, but I hope you're excited to be on our episode.
It's a pleasure to be here, MJ.
All right.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, let's go up there.
Uh-oh, we're locked out.
Head on in.
Thank you.
We are live.
So do I start getting paid now, or did I start getting paid as soon as I showed up?
I think you've eaten enough Rolo candies in your life.
No, we're talking cash.
Police
Straight
Department.
up cash.
Yeah, we only do Rolo candy.
Yes,
All right. So, Nigel,
Crown of the realm.
you were a Rolo back in the day. You were on the radio show that we did.
I was.
Yeah, how long were you a residence life resource officer with us?
About 18 months.
18
Yeah,
months.
so it wasn't too long.
And we did the radio show. We did that probably for at least 10 years. And we had, it was a goofy show, but we played bad 80s music.
It was a lot of fun. The music was the best part of it.
And so now we've pivoted towards the podcast. And so we're going to drive you around, talk to you about your life experiences or lack thereof.
Lack thereof, yeah.
So tell us where you're from.
From Norfolk. There was a cop in Norfolk. Well, all right, going all the way back, I was born in England. Long time ago. My family immigrated to the U.S. in 1977. Went to high school here. After high school, I joined the Army, spent 8 years in the Army. Got out, went back to Norfolk, became a cop in Norfolk. Retired from Norfolk. We came out this way because my brother worked at Tech. He was a graduate from Tech and worked there. He got married. We'd come out here every 2 or 3 years and we liked it. And every two or three times a year, we liked it. We decided we'd come out here when we got a chance to retire. So me and my wife, kids, came out here in 2013. And I met John here at an event downtown. He talked about being a police officer here at Tech. And he's the one that talked me into joining Tech. So I became a cop here in 2016.
Remember, like it was yesterday, it was stepping out. And you
It
were
was stepping out,
downtown.
that's right.
You came up, you said, "Are we hiring?" I said, "We're always hiring."
And I was joking at the time, trying to make fun of you. Because it was this vehicle.
Right.
You
right.
had this out there, yeah.
And at the time, you had been out of law enforcement for over 2 years. So
Yeah, a little over 2 years.
You actually had to go back to the police academy, right?
I did. I had to go back to Cardinal Police Academy.
So the first time you went, did you go through the police academy for the Norfolk Police Department? They have their own?
Yeah, Norfolk has their own because they put through 2 or 3 academies a year. And it's like 30 guys a year, so it makes sense for them to do their own academy.
And then you obviously had to go through Cardinal. And what did you do for the Norfolk Police Department? What are some of the jobs that you did for them?
Well, we had I was in patrol, and then we had a bike unit. It was one of the biggest bike units, if not the country, definitely the state. We had 30 guys on the bike units between the 2 precincts, and it was permanent. So you rode a bike 5 days a week, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, 365. And you didn't get a lot of snow there. It got cold, but you didn't get the snow that you get around here and some of the other places. So it was feasible. And back then, we did a lot of drug type interdiction within some of the communities, and just made sense to get bikes in there because people that had a hard time approaching police cars and they felt that like they'd come up and talk to a bicycle officer. Plus, we could get into places police cars couldn't, so that was kind of fun. Did that for about 4 years. Then I became a detective in Norfolk. Did that for a few years, and then I went to vice narcotics, and my last 8 years was in narcotics in Norfolk.
I don't know if you know this, but MJ is a detective. So
He's a
y'all
very
have
good detective,
a
too.
plethora of
Yeah.
things in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe a little bit different here than in the city of Norfolk, but
Well, the difference is it's just the size of it, and it's more specialized. So in Norfolk, we had probably 50 detectives, and then everybody was assigned a certain type of crime. Like you had homicide, robbery, auto squad, sexual assault, larcenies. Everything was specialized and different. So that's all we worked was those particular types of crimes.
Right. Yeah, and For the listening audience here at Virginia Tech Police and Investigations, where we're jack of all trades. We do everything. We don't have any specialties. A little bit smaller department, so a little different setup.
Which is kind of good because you get to see a little bit more as far as that's concerned. So, yeah.
Right.
So you come to Virginia Tech, go through the police academy. You're on patrol, which was a rotating shift. So was it a month of days, month of nights, or?
Yeah, month of days, month of nights.
And then another person came in your life and said, "Hey, maybe you need to do something different than patrol." And what was that?
A guy named Tater Sauce. Tater.
Talked you into applying for what?
For ROLO, the Residence Life Resource Officer Program. So I put in for that, and it was a very grueling process, but I was fortunate enough to get selected.
You know, the best thing about it is the fact that you were on bike patrol, because at the time when in Residence Life, in our ROLO program, we had bike assignments and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a lot of things, and you've done bicycle patrol, in my opinion, is community policing in a huge way, because you're talking to people. It's not just arresting people, writing tickets, things like that. You're interacting with the public.
Yeah, it goes back to me saying that people felt more confident approaching a guy on a bike as opposed to somebody in a police car that's just driving by. And yeah, it's a little more personal. Yeah, so you get to know people and you develop some informants that way too. So,
all right. So you did some ROLO kind of stuff. Did that for a while. Then after ROLO, what was the next chapter for you at VTPD?
So, a position came available for accreditation and records management, and I took a look at that and kind of interested in it, and applied for that and got that position. And it's not the most exciting position in the world, but I found that it's rewarding. Yeah, I like doing it.
Yeah, if I think back, MJ, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Who talked you into applying for that job?
This is getting a recurring fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I not say, hey, this job's coming open? Okay, go ahead.
A guy with all kinds of great ideas.
Yeah, so I think he recruited me, found out what I was like, and then kicked me out.
So
I think that's how it worked.
We see you at the police department doing just all kinds of things. What are some of the responsibilities in your current position now? That accreditation and records role, that's what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah, so records involves a whole lot of different odds and ends, basically. Any report that the officers take comes through me, and I go through a process of putting it into our records management system. Any requests we get from outside agencies for records, I handle that. FOIA requests, which is the Freedom of Information Act, any requests we get dealing with that for the police department to take care of. We get requests from the Commonwealth Attorney for video, so we have body camera and in-car video systems, and I'll take care of those requests. Then of course there's accreditation on top of that. So what accreditation is, it's a system by which law enforcement agencies can see how they stand up to their peers with other agencies, and it's a set of standards, and it's a nationally accredited system. We go through what's called CLEAR. And
what does that stand for? Because a lot of times people throw out acronyms, and then people are like, I don't know what CLEAR
I'm sorry.
is.
It's Commission for the Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies. It's a national standard, so we can compare to any police department across the country that meets the same standards that they put out. And it's a yearly process that we go through.
Is it just CALEA, or is there another organization?
There's a second one that's just for campus law enforcement, so we also do that as well.
All right, well, now we've moved outside, stretch our legs a little bit. I had a burning question that I thought about while you're in there. So you're the records man, in charge of all that. So if I'm a student or someone involved in the community, and I made a report to the police, and I want to get a copy of my report that I've made to the police, what would I do? How would I do that?
So the proper way to do that is to go to the Virginia VT.edu. In the search page there, in the search bar, type in the name next request, or the word next request. That'll take you to a page where you just put in your request. You're going to put in your name, obviously, address, your email, your telephone number. Type in there what you want, and it becomes a FOIA request. I receive it as soon as it goes in there, and then we process it right away for simple reports such as accident reports, Sometimes hit and runs, those kind of things. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We can get them back to you really quick.
Yeah, so if I'm sitting here and I'm pull out my phone and I'm just go to my normal search engine here and I type in VTPD records request and I hit search, I see this kind of the first thing explaining all of it, just like you said. So it's not a hard process, right? It's going there.
It's very intuitive. It tells you exactly what to do. And then once I upload the document, you receive it on your end. You can either download it to whatever you want it to. You can print it.
You manage the records room, and that is, hard copies of accident reports or more police reports and things like that. And if something's wrong with a specific report, you either have to get it corrected or you correct it yourself, because the state police will reach out to you occasionally and say, hey, this needs to be fixed. So you do a lot of fixing of MJ's reports. Would that be accurate?
So yeah, we have to adhere to certain standards within not just the state, but the FBI, the reports. And so monthly I have to submit all the reports into the state database, and they'll send back a report stating what needs to be corrected. And actually I can do it daily, but we just submit the entire thing at the end of the month. So there's certain things that come back and we have to make corrections. We have to do additions and subtractions and that kind of thing. And most of them I'll do myself. Sometimes we'll send them back right away because there's certain things I can't change, like narratives. So we'll send them back every day and get them fixed. Yeah.
Talked about just a million things you do, but on top of all of that, you've taken on another responsibility with us. So you're the main kind of go-to officer for the Dignitary Protection Unit, right?
None of this is very exciting, is it?
Well, hey, so we have, the Virginia Tech Police Department Secret Service equivalent, right? That you handle if there's requests for like dignitaries on campus. Usually it's the president of the university, correct?
Well, yeah, that's the normal one, is the president of this university. So Virginia Tech, and most of the times it's football games, it's certain presentations that he does, and I'll just pick him up, I'll escort him, and I'll just help him get in and out of the places quicker, and try to avoid some of the crowds, because believe it or not, he's a celebrity around here. You'd be amazed how many people come up to him and want to take a selfie with him, and he's great at it too. So it could be one of the biggest donors we've got on campus, or it could be a freshman student. He stops and talks to them and takes selfies with these people.
Speaking of celebrities, I've talked to some of my friends around campus. They know Nigel Lee. He has become a celebrity in a way just because of that extra assignment that he did. So you've already retired once.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself when you retire again? What kind of job do you think you're going to have? Lifeguard on the beach somewhere? I mean, what do you foresee?
Yeah, I'd be like Baywatch. Yeah, that's me. I'm like Baywatch. So my wife, when we came up here to the mountains, she was fine with it and everything, but she really loves the beach. So I promised her when we both retire eventually we'd go back down to the beach. Because initially being from Norfolk, we go to the beach, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, that kind of thing all the time. And we go down the Outer Banks. Yeah. Being up in the mountains is 5-6 hours away. So yeah, we'll probably end up going back to the beach at some point.
What's it been like working at having kind of a whole new career? What are some of the differences you've seen between here and Norfolk, and some of the unique kind of things you see with your broader perspective?
It's just a different type of policing also. Obviously we don't have the crime that you're going to have in the major cities. We don't have the frequency of the crime, but at the same time you have to be prepared. Unfortunately, we've seen events here that you really had to be prepared for, and I think that's a challenge because the officers don't see that on a daily basis. So if something happens, even though it's irregular and you don't see it all the time, you might not be as prepared for it, but you got to have that mindset. So that's a big challenge here. Some of the other things, my first week here, I was driving a marked police car, went through the drive-thru at McDonald's, and the guy said, hey, the guy in front of you already paid for yours. I was like, what? Yeah, he's paid for yours already. Never had that happen before, and it's happened several times since I've been here, and it's kind of cool to get that. Not that I'm looking for a free meal, but it's cool to get that support from people and knowing that people do appreciate what you do.
Well, we're going to do, is it time to do our rapid fire?
I think so. So I hope you're ready.
All right, here we go.
All right, I'm gonna start. Okay?
Apologize in advance. Yeah.
Football or soccer? Real football or soccer?
It's interesting. I was reading an article the other day from England. Back in the 70s and 80s, they went from football to using the word soccer. And then they've gone back again now to saying football. So yeah, there's two distinct things. There's American football, and then there's soccer. Unless you're overseas, then it's football.
So which one do you prefer?
Depends. There's two different seasons. I watch them both. See, I'm allowed to watch soccer during one season, allowed to watch football in another season, because that's all my wife will tolerate, right? So I can watch them too. I'd like to get into hockey and other things, but yeah, it takes too much time. But yeah, it depends on the season and depends on the teams playing, but yeah.
I've got easier. He gives you the hard ones. Easier ones. You're out to dinner. Would you rather get pizza or cheeseburger?
I like them both.
So maybe it's not so easy.
No,
This is the rules of rapid fire. You gotta go.
I got a food one for him too, and I know the answer to this. Fries smothered in, I don't know, cheese or mashed potatoes.
Fries smothered
Yeah,
in cheese.
of course.
Yeah,
of
loaded
course.
fries. But it's funny because I'll go home and wife will ask me, chicken or steak? I'm like, I don't care either one. Chicken or steak? I don't care either one. Well, I took the steak out already, out of the freezer. So why are you asking? You know, yeah, I like them both. Yeah.
All right. So if you had to pick a season to be living in, would you pick summer or winter?
Fall.
Oh, all right. Fall. Cut the difference.
Fall.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Best Tidewater Police Department, Newport News Police Department, the Norfolk Police Department.
Norfolk's the older one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's been around since 1787, I think it was. Something like that, yeah. That was when it first started.
All right. And I know we touched on this a little bit. But for your personal preference, regardless of family, would you rather be going on vacation in the mountains or out on the beach?
Again, I like them both. I'm kind of, yeah. I like the mountains. I do. But after a while, you know, you want to go to the beach and experience that. Yeah, I like the change. If I lived at the beach, I'd want to come visit the mountains. Now I'm in the mountains, I want to go visit the beach. Yeah.
All right. Jumping out of a perfectly good airplane in the Army or operating a tank.
Never operated a tank.
So-
Never did.
How many times have you jumped out of an airplane?
I don't know, a few times, a number of times. Yeah.
And you were in the airborne?
Yeah, I was with the 101st.
Yeah.
But what we did there was we did what's called air assault. So we rappelled out of helicopters.
Helicopters.
Yeah, we didn't jump in the 101st. Yeah.
Huh. All right. It's the helicopters. All right. So if you're on campus, you're working with the Hokies. I know we talk about soccer versus football, but would you rather be working a basketball game or a football game?
Football game.
I guess you get the AC on that one.
Well, it's not just that. It's basketball games. I don't know. They just seem to drag on to me. They're not as exciting as the football games, I guess. I don't know. They're both fine. I'll work either one. They're both good.
All right, you got to pick one or the other on this one. Best job you've had at the Virginia Tech Police Department, the Rolo program or accreditation?
Rolo program, without a doubt.
All right. So then, police car preference. Would you go with the SUV Explorer or the sedan Crown Vic style? What's your preference in style of police car?
I like the sedans. I really do. And I think that the SUVs are a little bit too big, a little too heavy. We did a lot more pursuits back in the day. There's a lot more stolen cars. And quite honestly, a SUV doesn't handle as good as a car does.
Or at least
I like the car.
when we worked in Tidewater, the SUVs were a little bit different the way they were configured, I think, compared to now. So I would have Crown Vic or Caprice Classic.
Caprices they were powerful. They had the Corvette engine in them.
Big trunk,
Big trunks.
car.
Yeah, it looked like a whale going down the street. They're really cool. I like them.
All right. Well,
they don't make them anymore. They don't make Crown Vics anymore either.
Things come back, like you and I coming back here to work, things come.
Because the sedans are just too small to be police cars anyway, so you have to have an SUV now. Because they don't make cars big enough, really.
So we are going to dip back in the police mobile command unit, and we're going to drive around campus a little bit, and then we're going to drop you off.
Cool.
You got to watch this podcast because one of the best parts is MJ's corner that he's going to do in a little bit. Besides the expert driving that I do.
All right, we're back with another MJ's Legal Corner. And I just want to say, of course, I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I always want to be clear about what we're doing here, make sure I'm not trying to give anybody advice. Just to be clear, I enjoy doing this because I want to highlight something that I really enjoy, which is the Code of Virginia. I mean, it's a great code to our listening audience. So, just to be clear, I'm not giving any legal advice here. You can get your own lawyer if you need to talk to a lawyer or anything like that. Not advising anybody one way or another. Just, highlighting some interesting laws and things that I think is relevant to our community. But hey, just giving info, right? All right. So today I brought us one just to highlight, just to talk about in the Virginia Code. I love Virginia Code. Virginia Code 19.2, 82.1, giving false identity to law enforcement officers. So, the code is, any person who falsely identifies himself to a law enforcement officer with the intent to deceive the law enforcement officer as to his real identity after having been lawfully detained and after being requested to identify himself by a law enforcement officer is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. So, for example, sometimes you might see this in our community. If someone gets in trouble, maybe they want to say they're over 21, if they've been drinking, maybe they don't want to admit who they are and they get in trouble, you might be tempted to give a fake ID, someone else's name, that kind of thing. If you've already been in trouble, you're kind of being under arrest or detained, you got to just own up to what's going on. This code highlights that you'll get in more trouble. You could be charged with another crime if you give over a fake ID, try and pretend you're someone else. And I will say we will find out.
I've been a police officer in Newport News and then here, so I've seen this happen before. And what gets me is like sometimes brothers, sisters, or cousins will give their family members information, and then they're not thinking straight, and because that's just going to cause problems for their family member in the long run. So it's always better to give truthful information as far as identity goes, right?
Absolutely. And I've seen an example of an officer encountering someone downtown. Someone is under 21, they've chosen to be drinking that night, and the officer, they've got a safe ride home, is going to choose to give them a warning, but then that person makes the mistake of giving a fake ID, falsely identifying themselves, lying to law enforcement, and then it creates a whole new situation where they were just going to get a warning and be able to go home safely that night, then it's a big problem. So
even signing, a summons or signing anything with somebody else's name, or magistrate, for instance, presenting your information to the magistrate and the warrants are typed up can be a huge problem.
Yeah. So again, just providing some information to the community here, highlighting a code, and I can't wait to see you guys next time for MJ's Legal Corner.
Best corner by far.